ChatGPT, is it genius or is it going to destroy education? This video is going to delve into my personal thoughts and opinions on ChatGPT, talking about some of the ethics behind ChatGPT, along with what we can do as educators, as individuals, to make sure the children and students don't overuse it, but also make sure that they're using it in a productive manner to enhance and innovate their education. One of the biggest concerns with ChatGPT is that it's going to take over educators, both in two ways. One, it's going to take over the ability for educators to set any homework, and then two, it's going to take over teachers. So let's start up with the teacher's point to start off with. It is by far a fantastic resource that teachers and children can benefit from. Will it replace teachers? Well, in some ways it might. I know that's probably not the answer that you're looking for, but definitely in terms of personalized feedback, support, and being there for the student as and when they're learning, it is quite possible that children will get that support and feedback from artificial intelligence systems in the future with the way that it is progressing. However, one thing that artificial intelligence, edtech, and advancements cannot replace is the personalized element of education. One of the things that people forget with education is that it's not just the learning that children get from education. Children come to school to develop social skills, emotional understanding, emotional capabilities, and those are the elements that AI will try but fail to support children with, is developing those emotional cues, emotional understandings, responses, but also thinking at a kind of foundation stage where the children are really young, with understanding things like turn taking and other elements like that, where the children need to really start to understand social cues and facial opinions and facial expressions from other children. And without those abilities to meet with other children, to support and get that, and be in an environment where children are able to gain a kind of fostered and supported scaffolded approach towards those education and social emotional developments, they will struggle. And that is where artificial intelligence cannot replace teachers. Delving on from that, we've got artificial intelligence replacing homework and doing the homework for children. Is that possible? Yes, absolutely. ChatGPT has shown that homework can be replaced by ChatGPT. It's able to support children with what they are doing, but also publish some really strong stuff. Too strong is the key there. Now, when I read my pupils' work, I start to gain a better understanding of what those students are capable of. And I believe that it's the relationships that you develop with those children that are the key distinguishing factor between what the children produce and what ChatGPT is able to produce for the children, that is going to help me as an educator determine and distinguish whether it is pupil written or artificial intelligence written. And based on that, I will then be able to start to use some of the tools I'm going to show you in a second to break down whether it is plagiarized. So there's a few different things that we can do to support with using ChatGPT in the classroom. The reason I'm having this discussion is that because of the popularity of tools like ChatGPT and other things that are starting to come out, lots of people are starting to find that it would just be better to ban artificial intelligence in the classroom, full stop. And I understand why. We don't want children to just be using ChatGPT on a frequent basis to answer all of their assignments, because what that does is subtract from the learning process and subtract some of the children's ability to do the work themselves. It's completely understandable. However, we do want to enable children to be able to produce their own outcomes and to use their intelligence to supportively use ChatGPT to create good outcomes, if that makes sense. And there's a few different ways that we can do that. I've been doing a little bit of research about how we can support children with what they do inside the classroom and how we can start to develop children with using artificial intelligence correctly. And there's a few different policies that we could potentially use. So there's this guy called Steve Norrie. He's fantastic. He talks all about artificial intelligence, computer science and things like that. And he's speaking about this. There's kind of a few options that we could do. Option 1 is where we ban it completely because it's cheating. Option 2 would be to use strict guidelines for the use of ChatGPT, a set of rules and regulations which must be followed for technology to use in an educational setting. These guidelines could include limitations on the types of content that could be generated by the model, restrictions on who has access to the model, and requirements for monitoring and oversight of its use. This is a great option, and I think would probably be the most common, because what this does is make sure that children can only use artificial intelligence in subjects where it would be beneficial. For example, if children are looking at using artificial intelligence to support with inquiry in a subject like geography, history, social studies, that could be beneficial because it can give children a range of different ideas about the world around them. If children are then going to be using ChatGPT to generate assignments that are created for them in something like English, that's going to be questionable, because then what's happening is the children aren't using their own personal thoughts in an assignment where it's important. Now, I can understand, especially with limitations in the way that, staffing, support, all those sorts of things, it is easier to just ban it. But that could be a solution going forward, is looking at certain subjects and the way that it can be used in the classroom. On the note of using it in the classroom, if you want to go and check out a workshop that I'm working on at the moment, make sure you do that. It's in the description, to join the mailing list and to gain a better understanding of ways that you can use not just ChatGPT, but artificial intelligence as a general tool to support children with their learning, but also with teacher wellbeing too. Feel free to check that out. So moving on from there onto option 3, we've got minimal guidelines, would focus mainly on ensuring that technology is being used ethically and responsibly, would provide more freedom for educators and students to utilize the model in a way that best suits their needs. With minimal guidelines, schools would have more autonomy in terms of how they use the technology, but would still be expected to use it in a manner that is safe and beneficial for the students. This is trust. Option 3 is trust, and completely comes down to whether or not you are able to detect what they're creating. So option 4 is totally allowed, like the usage of a calculator, change the assessment is done with the schools. So I suppose really we've got kind of those few options, and we need to look at the way that we produce assignments. Now, this is hard because ChatGPT has shown that it is able to integrate personal elements really well. So if we're looking at using ChatGPT in the classroom, we need to look at making sure that the assignments that we're setting the children are things that they would have learned so far, so that if those elements start to pull out where it's things that children wouldn't have looked at in the lessons, then we start to question the validity and the kind of appropriateness of what's being created. I personally like a kind of mix of option 2 and option 3. At a primary level, I think trust in option 3 is beneficial. It's really clear when something is created by something like ChatGPT at a primary level, because you expect to see more mistakes. It is much harder when we get to college level, and it's much harder when we start to look at university level too. But when we get to those higher levels, college, university, because the demand on the writing is higher, the quality of the writing needs to be higher too, it is a little bit easier to track and trace the plagiarism. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get ChatGPT to make a start on something I asked it to do. So write a 300-word essay about the impact of global warming in the UK with suggestions for improving sustainability. I've just put there, include citations and references. So as we can see, the essay is generated here, but we can use trackers and detectors to support us with understanding whether or not the text is fake or true. This is one that is supposed to detect GPT-3. Personally, not a huge fan because there is a limit on the amount that you can use. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out some of the references, etc. Even still, we're going to analyze the text from this sentence onwards. So we can see that there's a limitation to this, so I'm not such a fan. But again, we can see human generated 14%. Straight away it's detecting, well, it's not really human generated. There is a portion that is human generated, but it's not fantastic. So based on that, what we're going to do is go into GPT-2. This is by the same creators of OpenAI and GPT-3. So we're going to paste that in, and then based on its predictions, you can see that 99.98 is fake. So based on that, it's a strong indicator that, yeah, this is created by artificial intelligence. And I think personally, this is what it comes down to. It comes down to us putting the importance of proofreading for plagiarism onto the companies such as OpenAI who are creating these amazing resources. At the end of the day, there are so many people working on innovating in artificial intelligence, but there are less people working in the ethics, and I think this is something that needs to be developed. I believe that they are starting to look at ways that they can put a digital blueprint into what is created by ChatGPT. I believe that would be fantastic for educators if the API and the system that is published by them can then be used by other education authorities too. That would really benefit educators and make sure that we're able to use artificial intelligence in a more sustainable way. I think in conclusion, it comes down to educators being able to trust children, which is always extremely challenging, and putting in those restrictions where necessary. Obviously, we don't want to go down the route too much of banning it completely, but what we want to try and do is to go to a kind of cohesive manner in where we can use GPT-3 to support with children's learning and also with teacher workload. An example of this would be getting children to create an essay, such as the one that I've just shown you on here, and go, okay, well, this is one that's created. Can you improve it? Can you make this sound more personable based on your experience, based on what you've learned, and start to use those examples to support with creating better work? Again, huge challenge, but something that I believe can happen in the future. Do I believe that artificial intelligence is going to ruin education? No. But is it going to be something that might be a challenge in the future? Yes. But one thing that is true is that teachers, especially after some of the things that have happened in the world recently, are extremely adaptable, extremely capable, and will continue to innovate and develop. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you want to subscribe for more, feel free to do that. It is free and you can always unsubscribe at a later date. Again, the workshop is available under the link in my description, and hopefully I will see you in another video. Until then, I'm out.